Okay, the recording has started. Hello, everyone. My name is Rimeike, and I'm founder of Quantum Cybersecurity Skills. My guest today is Charles Ibrahim. Maybe Charles, you can introduce yourself briefly.
Sure, thank you very much. So I'm a manager at a French consulting firm called Wavestone. I'm in charge of red team operations, but also of SOC assessments and in between of purple team operations. And that's why Emma had the kindness of asking me my opinions about various machine learning and AI-driven detection questions.
Yes, so let's start with the first question, which is automation, machine learning, artificial intelligence technologies. They are being adopted with more confidence within security operations center environments. In your opinion, Charles, how do you think the role and importance of human experts will change over the next 3 to 5 years with this technology adoption?
That is basically a very interesting question. First of all, I think, this is my personal view, but I think it is shared by many operational teams in the field. I think that human beings will be the most crucial part of every team. Perhaps not forever, but for a long time. So human part will keep being one of the major milestones of the detection systems. Furthermore, I think that automation, of course, will be even more important in the years to come. Automation is key by making the time to response, the time between the detection and the time to the reaction shorter. Machine learning is also key because not because it's a so intelligent thing. It is something that requires a lot of effort and intellectual work, but machine learning, to my opinion, and this is what we see today in the SOC operations, machine learning is key in order to deal with simple alerts that need to be adjusted, that need to be adapted in very fine ways, but that do not require extremely complex correlations. Machine learning is very efficient to deal, for instance, with a few parameters that need constant retuning, but it's not mature yet to deal with very complex threats like lateral movement, complex lateral movement in an internal network. Of course, there are a lot of products editor that will say that it is, but from what we see, it's not. And it's not ready yet. And at the end of the day, artificial intelligence is it's more of a global word today. Artificial intelligence is very interesting, but it's a field of research currently, more than something that is actually useful on the field, and it needs a lot of effort. Machine learning is actually a part of what we could call artificial intelligence, but artificial intelligence as a whole needs a lot of research to be operational.
Okay. Fantastic. Very, very interesting. And to be honest, I couldn't agree more with you after reading multiple books on, next generation soccer and minimizing the time to respond to mitigate the threats. You're right. Machine learning will be an important part, but so will be the humans. I think humans will be the ones connecting the dots or drawing a picture why we do this. So good. Are you ready to progress into into second question of ours?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So the second question we'll be covering is what other technical and non-technical skills do you consider important for your incident response plan stakeholders? What's your opinion?
Yeah, sure. This is a very interesting question, and you've added and non-technical skills.
Yes.
Let's begin with non-technical skills. I think that today SOC team need to have miscellaneous skills. They need to be versatile because actually, it's very difficult to defend against very skilled and specialized attackers today. I have started my career working in a SOC, and know that I'm on both sides, on the blue team and the red team side. I can see that it's quite easy. It's easier for the red teamers to attack the organizations than for the blue teamers to defend them. And this is something that is not very original, what I'm saying, but I would like to press on the fact that people in the SOC, they have to grab a lot of different skills together. And to understand the rest of your questions, they have to be able to understand the most complex attacks. So they have to get more of a red teamers mindset and technical skills. I think that a lot of SOC operational persons today, they do not have the certifications, the levels to understand really what the red teamers are doing. I mean, they have to get their hands dirty, as we say in French, to understand the mechanics of very complex attack. You can't understand the most complex Active Directory privilege escalations attacks if you've not practiced them. So this is the first thing I would say, is that SOC team now, they have to focus on the most complex attack, not the attacks that you can automate, the attacks you can deal with machine learning. You have to focus on the most complex attack that can't be analyzed by an artificial intelligence. And the other thing is that they have to focus on things that are not directly technical security. They have to focus on open source information research. For instance, they have to, what we call threat intelligence today is something that is, to my opinion, still underestimated. There are a lot of organizations that they do not look into threat intelligence enough, I think, and of course now we see that with machine learning and the emergence of artificial intelligence technologies, you have to look into data science a lot more. And to me, for instance, it's something crucial, because you can't understand what an editor is offering with with his new shiny product if you don't understand what Markov chains are, if you don't understand what supervised or unsupervised learning is. This is very important, and this is something that that is missing, I think, the SOC teams, because data science today is more focused, I think, on marketing and not security thing than on security things.
Okay. And may I ask you, you know, because incident response plan stakeholders could be also someone from legal, someone from PR, you know, someone outside incident response, departments, or even security operations center, you know. So would you have any advice, you know, or do you see any let's say field for improvements, what could be done in terms of awareness, you know, or educating those you know, those other stakeholders outside the departments which are dealing on day-to-day basis with incidents, with threat hunting, and so on?
I'm not completely sure that I understood the question, but I think I understand that what you want to say is how to make not security people aware of the importance of security stakes. Am I correct? Yeah. This is key question actually that has been dealt for years, but that is still a very important point. I think today there is a growing understanding that security is important. It's both important for security people to be humble and to put a lot of pressure on their management. I think that it's important to be humble because as security people, we are just, with quotes, we are just helping other people to do the work. For instance, we saw with the coronavirus that we were here to help the people, the doctors and the nurses to do the work and avoid that the hospitals get ransomware. So the main work was not ours, but we were helping them to do their work, which was crucial for humanity. So it's important to stay humble and to understand that the key jobs for sometimes they are not our job, but it's also important. So this is an important behavior because I see some CISOs or security peoples or geeks that are focused on the CTF and capture the flags exercise. They are saying, "Oh, you're not even capable of understanding that. You don't understand why you have to get a strong password. You don't even know what a Kerberos attack is." So the people in front of them, they have the feeling that we are arrogant, and this is this is a wrong behavior, I think. And the other thing is that we should put the pressure on our management and some managers by saying simply by taking the figures and simply saying that the laws are evolving. Today in France, there is a debate about making CEOs responsible for cyber attacks.
Yes.
This would be a great move, actually, because today the CISOs, they can be fired just because there is a cyber attack, but the CEO is okay. Perhaps tomorrow this won't be the case anymore. And apart from the being fired opportunity, I think it's important to make the management understand that if there is a big cyber attack against their firm, they won't be to work anymore, and it can be a matter of days until they reach bankruptcy. So in incident responses, I have seen in the past years at least 2 or 3 enterprises, not in the press, but in my work, that went to bankruptcy because just they couldn't work anymore for several weeks. So it was COVID-19 like situation, you know, and so it's a loss of jobs, it's family broken, it's important things. It's not just a geek thing that wants to get rid of a ransomware.
100%. And I think there was a Gartner report saying that CEOs will be liable for any cyber attacks, cyber breaches. I think by 2024, that was the prediction. So yeah, 100%. Okay, very interesting insights, I must say. I like listening because you're coming from this, if I may say, you know, field, the war zone, electronic, you know, field zone. Good. So let's go to question, another question, the last question we're gonna cover today, which relates to artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence technologies could be seen as a double-edged sword that can be used as a security solution, of course, and as a weapon by hackers. So having proactive threat hunting in mind, and given the adoption of artificial intelligence on both sides by hackers and by SOC, what do you do to prevent unknown threats such as WannaCry, Petya, and many other future, you know, similar cyber threats that take industry by surprise?
It's a quite interesting questions that includes many questions in it, actually. So if I want to deal with these questions in sequence, I would start with the last questions. What do you do to prevent unknown threats, such as WannaCry, NotPTR, etc.? There are actually a lot of things to do with unknown threats. There are very basic things like, I would say, like you have to patch your systems, you have to fix your vulnerabilities. Not very original, but this is the base of the hygiene that we need to put in place. Regarding artificial intelligence and machine learning to prevent unknown threats, you can look into the behavior of your networks, and a lot of machine learning solutions, they rely on behavioral analysis, whether it's with statistical data or complex algorithms, but the concept behind this analysis is to look to watch for abnormal behaviors in your corporate network. So you need to learn from your business as usual cases, and you have to define some tendencies, and you have to define some rules in your CM or in your security products that say, okay, for instance, during the night, I don't have many mails sent out of my organization. I don't have a lot of zip archives going from a particular desktop to a in Asia or in the United States. I don't have these kind of behaviors. Or on the opposite, it's perfectly normal for the CTO to send mails at 2 o'clock between Saturdays and Sunday to its to his friend in Asia, because he's a guy that works all day long, and we have said to him that he shouldn't work, but he works. So you have very complex situation that you have to analyze with a statistical point of view, and you have to define rules for that. So so to prevent unknown threats, such as WannaCry PHI, I would say you have very basic things like close your perimeter, fix your vulnerabilities, patch your systems, and also watch for abnormal behaviors. And of course, have an efficient SOC that you train to respond on a relevant manner to security events. Regarding the first part of your questions, the fact that technologies are a double-edged sword, yes, they are. And today we can see what we call adversarial machine learning. This is something that at Wavestone we are beginning to look into. I've seen very interesting presentations from Microsoft at the RSA conference in February, where I was. It's a very interesting research field. It's not really known by the public yet, but there are very interesting papers by IBM or Microsoft, for instance, and miscellaneous universities. So yes, they are a double-edged sword. Why? Because you can define a machine learning model, but you can also taint the test data of that model. You can taint the training data for that model, and you can also, of course, if you have access to that model, you can slightly modify a parameter that would change the whole detection process and capabilities. And today, I think that with the skills of most of SOC members, that would be completely unaware of any changing, and should they know about the change, that they would be not capable, I think, of understanding why the lambda parameter is 1.2 and 1.3. What does it change? It's almost the same value, but perhaps at the end of the day, it's completely different detection model. So I think data science again and security, they have to talk to each other, and they have to. Again, it's difficult for security people because they have so much to understand. They have so many things to look into. But I think that today in SOC teams, there should be at least one data scientist that, even if he doesn't know anything about security, but he would be trained by his colleagues, and in return, he could train the other analysts like me that are not data scientists.
Yeah, fantastic. Again, what your words are echoing the research I'm doing. So again, I couldn't agree more with you, and I also read that in the future, artificial intelligence, the algorithm itself will become sort of IP, and your, sort of the tool that could put you in a winning position. So it will be like minds creating the most smartest, the most dynamic AIs in the future. That's based on my research, what I'm reading. So great, thank you very much, Charles, for joining me on this call. I really enjoyed your insights, and I'm very excited that public will listen into one of the beautiful minds from Security Operations Center. Thank you very much, Charles.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for your initiative.
Okay. Let me